Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily Podcast. I'm Stuart Deming.
And I'm Aaron Pennington.
Today we're asking the question, will Metro Nashville Police Department respond to hit and runs?
We'll talk about all of this and more on Nashville Daily. All right, big question, big answers. If true, will Metro Nashville Police Department respond to hit and runs? Got an interesting story coming up with that. But today's episode is brought to you by thinkbrad.com. He's doing a big giveaway. Kicked me off the podcast just to tell you guys about this in a previous episode. But Brad Reynolds is offering some closing costs being taken off of your purchase, and somebody is going to win that prize of some closing costs being covered by Brad Reynolds, a real estate agent here in Nashville. All you got to do is subscribe to his channel at Think Brad, his YouTube channel, of course, and our podcast channel, Nashville Daily Podcast, and text Brad 615-856-3270. You can see the number here on the screen. Let him know that you did so. He will make sure you are entered in for that chance to win some closing costs covered in the winter months of this 2022 to 2023 season. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to those channels and then text Brad 615-856-3270. If you're thinking Nashville, think Brad.
So I found myself in an interesting situation the other day. This just literally happened 2 days ago. And I got into a hit-and-run accident on 40 West. And what's really intriguing is immediately after the accident, I called the police hotline number. I didn't call 911 because the accident wasn't too severe. The car was still drivable. I just got sideswiped, and the car just went on.
Can we let's see this footage and then let's talk about the aftermath.
Okay, so I have the footage. This is from the dash cam that I have. If you do not have a dash cam, buy one now.
Immediately.
We're going to put this as an affiliate link in the show notes because I have that set up now. So
hey.
I don't know if you knew that, Aaron, but you could buy this dash cam. This dash cam has like 30,000 reviews on Amazon, and they're almost all 5 stars.
Speaking of reviews, before we get into that, Greg the Google guy is going to be joining us on a few episodes later in the week.
Actually, next week, because we're finishing out this week strong with our favorite developments of 2022.
That's right. Next week. Next week. Greg is going to join us right after the holiday season and is going to help us review some of Nashville's most reviewed places since, it's Greg the Google guy. He owns the platform, so he's going to be talking us through that stuff. Okay, so this well-reviewed dash cam,
all right, so,
well-branded too, caught some footage. So what are we seeing here?
So I'm driving down 40 West, and I'm heading into downtown Nashville. This is approximately 8:05 a.m. And so what you're about to see here is I'm going to come to a stop here at Fessler's Lane. And so that's going to happen here in just a moment. But here in a second, I'm going to honk my horn because in my rear view mirrors, what I'm about to see is a person that is swerving left and right in the lanes. And I have a feeling that this guy is about to hit me. So about here, we're going to come to the stop because
and this is where you start seeing him?
Yes, so this is where I start seeing him. I'm seeing him behind the dump truck that I just passed right there on the left. And everyone knows this is a terrible on-ramp from Fessler's Lanes. It gets backed up so often. So I'm coming to a stop here, and now I see the car. The dump truck's about to pass me on the left, and I see the car, and I start honking my horn right here because I see what he's about to do. Now you're going to see he's in my lane.
Boom!
See, I got over.
I saw the car move.
So I moved over to the right a little bit, so I avoided way more damage than necessary.
Right, from him hitting like your tail light and all that stuff running right into you.
So we're just going to show this little part again. So what's happening here is I'm coming to a stop. All the traffic is merging from Fessler's Lane onto I-40 West. And I saw the car right past the dump truck, and he was going in and out of the lanes. And I'm like, I'm about to get hit. So you could see I'm going to move the car slightly to the right, so the damage was minimal. But the issue is this was a true hit-and-run accident. So let's just watch it again.
All right.
So coming to the stop.
Yes.
All right, about to turn to the right. See now I'm going to merge to the right a little bit.
And boom.
And he hit me. If I did not merge to the right, my entire car would have been damaged, and my mirror probably would have been taken off. But I want to play this one more time and see if you notice something, Aaron.
Okay.
So I noticed this before he hit me, or she. I'm not sure who the person was, but I noticed this before.
Okay.
So if you look right at the white vehicle, he comes into my lane.
Okay.
Bam. He's missing a rear view mirror.
Oh.
His mirror.
He's done this before. This is not a new thing for
this. Okay,
for
so
him.
this is where I'm about to get hit.
Okay.
Right about here, I'm beaking the horn. I'm going to the right, minimizing the damage. Bam. But look at. He's missing a mirror.
Gosh.
And you can see that. He's missing a mirror right there. And so I'm like, has this happened before?
Oh,
and
my
is this
gosh.
the person just doing this for fun?
Like, are they just bumping you and saying, "Hi, buddy"?
Hey, we're gonna play bumper cars.
Yeah, we're gonna play bumper cars. Oh my gosh, they've obviously done this before. This is nothing new to them because they are whoever they are. They didn't even hesitate to keep going.
Nope.
It wasn't a, oh shoot, what do I do? You would see that with like a little bit of brake lights, and then like they would just then decide to keep going, because I've seen that when somebody tried to hit me and then it hit and run as well.
Yep.
But I luckily I caught up to them.
Yeah. to get their license plate.
Yeah, and you know, thanks to your dash cam, you've got a license plate.
Yep.
And that's a very cool Rove R2 4K. We'll put that link in the description. This is actually very, very clear. I really like this. But yeah, no remorse. They keep going, and they are rolling out.
Well,
did you think about following them?
Oh no, I have the dash cam footage.
There you go.
Like I don't. So Nashville is really recently ranked as the number 5th or 7th most aggressive drivers in the United States.
Yeah.
And what's happening recently, and there's probably a lot of frustration around this, is people are just aiming their guns. And I'm like, I have dash cam footage, and I thought the police would do something.
Right. So dash cam footage would have theoretically helped,
yes.
But you ran into another situation right after this. So what was the aftermath? Right. What happened right after this accident?
Well, okay. So I get off at this next exit that's coming up. I think it's
Spence Lane.
Not Spence Lane. It's because you're going westbound. So it's that little Hermitage exit.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
the Hermitage Pike exit.
Yep.
And
right by the wharf.
Yep. And if you don't know what that is, that's a huge park that's being developed in Nashville. But I get off this exit, and because I literally just installed the dash cam 24 hours ago, because I got this new car. It's not a new car, but I got a new to me used car about 5 days ago, because my previous car, my transmission went, and they wanted $10,000 to fix the transmission. So I'm just gonna buy something else.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. And so I didn't have the opportunity to install the dash cam until Sunday. But then I installed it Sunday.
Oh my
gosh! And
gosh.
I got to this accident Monday morning. And so I didn't have all of the apps and everything downloaded fully on my phone yet. So I had to take about 5 minutes to download the app and download this footage.
Oh my gosh.
And then, because the damage was so minor, because I moved to the right, it could have been a lot worse.
So what was it? Just kind of a scrape along the
about the rear tire.
The rear tire,
the rear driver tire. And the damage could have been a lot worse. I probably could have had both doors that had to be replaced. Like, it could have just been way
depending
worse.
on, because it looks like they were going faster. You were going
9 miles.
9 miles an hour. They were probably going 20 or so, and so they could have really just squished that car from the back, depending on the angle that they hit it.
Yeah, so I saw the damage, and I'm like, okay, I don't think this requires a 911 call. So I call Hub Nashville, which they've changed it to. So it's not a direct line to the police hotline. It's a direct line to Hub Nashville.
So that's let me try to clarify. Hub Nashville is not even the non-emergency line for the police. It's like one step below. It's like city services when you need something.
Yep.
So Hub Nashville, and you called Hub Nashville because they've recently made a portal for you to not have to call the police, but to submit things like accidents. And the police have actually encouraged people hey, if people are in like a mutual accident and you don't want to call the police, or you have documentation of everything, everybody kind of agrees on what happened, then you can submit all of that data. Or sometimes if you get your things stolen or something like that. Somebody breaks into your car. A lot of stuff like that. You can submit the documentation, you can submit all this stuff into Hub Nashville, and they'll create a police report out of it. Has been the understanding that I've had.
Yes, but what's interesting is I've called this police hotline at least 35 times in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And this is
for what? Because that's all. To give context to that, what is
for house on fire? I was one of the first ones to call for a house on fire over in Midtown. I was
just
one
things
of the
that
first
you
ones,
see.
Yes, yep,
around town. Yeah.
I called 911 for the house fire.
I was about to say a house fire seems like a 911 call. I've had to call. I called somebody this year because I was in the Hermitage area, Old Hickory Boulevard, Andrew Jackson intersection, and there was a dude
carrying a machete.
In a wife beater, carrying around a machete, and looked pretty
like he was about to go rob a gas station.
I mean, yeah, and so I definitely called on that one. That was not a non-emergency or a Hub Nashville thing. That was a 911 thing. Yeah, but Hub Nashville definitely has. We'll throw this here on the screen. They have a lot of options on what you can do now with Hub Nashville. This is a fairly new thing as far as all of these options.
So the last time I remember calling them in the last year, I was downtown Nashville, and a man approached me, and he said, "Hey, my window was broken into." In one of his car windows. And so I called the hotline, and it went directly to the police department. It didn't go through Hub Nashville.
Oh, interesting.
So they've changed the back end of it. Now you go to Hub Nashville, and then you do this little waiting thing, and then what happens is, hey, if you need to talk to the police or if you need to talk to water, it gives you these options. And so that phone call alone, I was on hold for approximately the first phone call. I was on hold for 20 minutes almost.
Does that mean on hold before it gave you options, or on hold after you?
After I hit the police button.
Okay. Yep. Wow. So do you think it went to like the non-emergency line?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It went to an operator.
Yeah.
And I told the operator the situation. And so at this point, I'm just like, the nervousness, once you get into a car accident or when you are about to get into a car accident, like it feels like your gut's about to drop.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happened to me.
You then had added stress because you had a non-negotiable thing that you had to be at 9 a.m.
Yes. So I had to,
which like that's a lot more added stress knowing that you have to do something like make sure Nashville police are on scene before a certain amount of time, because you know that may be hard.
Well, so the reason people are like, well, why didn't you just stay on the interstate? So I had a hard time deadline. I had to be at around 9 a.m.
It's not safe to be on. It's not safe to be on the interstate.
Yes.
If you don't have to be, don't stay on the interstate.
Because the possibilities of getting rear end after a hit and run is very high in this city.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason I got off the interstate. And I also had this 9 o'clock I had to be at. Yeah. And if I wasn't at it, like there could have been a lot of other consequences. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm on hold still, and it's just this repeat message, like, "Hey, thank you for calling this hotline. We will get to you. You're the next in queue."
So you called Hub Nashville. You selected police.
Yep.
Did it immediately go to the operator?
No. It took 10 or
that
15
hold
minutes.
message was between selecting police option from Hub Nashville and the operator.
Yep. And so I'm like, I just need I need caffeine to get my nerves back up and stuff, because I have to be like fully on and engaged.
So you were 9 a.m. Okay. So you were in the off of Hermitage Avenue. So
I went to Crema Coffee.
Crema. Cool.
And so I went in and got coffee. So right when I pulled into Crema, I was able to talk to an operator.
Okay.
The operator said, "Hey, this is the situation. We're going to send an officer." And I said, "Well, I have a hard deadline. I have to be somewhere at 9 a.m. It's regardless. I have to be there. Like I don't have time to wait for an officer." And the first operator said, "Okay, well, if you have to leave, call us back. Tell us that you're leaving, and then we'll have a police come out later." So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to think anything of it. Go into Crema, get my coffee, and then I go into my car, and I wait 40 minutes.
Oof.
It's 8:51, and I'm like,
Oof.
I have 9 minutes.
Where do you have to be at 9?
Just on the other side of East Nashville.
Okay, so not terrible.
Not terrible. Like it could take me 5 minutes to drive over there if I didn't get into another accident.
Which I'm sure has happened. It happens every day in Nashville. People get into 2 accidents just by the luck of the draw with how many people are here.
Yeah, or how many stupid drivers there are.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty, and we're just going to start having footage of dash cam things happen.
Oh yeah. I've got a lot of clips on my phone.
Yeah. Especially that guy that was going, I don't know, it wasn't you, it was with my wife. He was going the opposite way on the roundabout in downtown. That's a story for another time.
Gosh.
Okay, but so I call the hotline again, and I'm on hold for 12 minutes. And if you need to see my phone records, I have them insurance
and this is at what time?
This
right
is
before 9 o'clock?
8:51.
Okay.
So I'm on hold for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And I finally get to almost my destination, and
Yeah.
they answer the phone. And so I talked to him, and I just said, hey, I called the initial operator I talked to. He said, hey, I'm going to send out a police officer just to get a police report. And the other lady's like, okay, you should be good, but I'm going to send you this number. So I had to pull over to get the phone number.
Okay.
And you're gonna submit. You're gonna call this number, and then they're gonna send you a link. And my 9 a.m. was an 8-hour appointment. Like, it was with clients. Like, I couldn't miss it. Like, it was very important. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do this after the day of work, basically. And so in the evening, I go to submit the paperwork. And on this, so you call this number, and then they send you a text message, and then you fill it out. And it takes you to some link in Hub Nashville.
Okay.
And it's for reporting minor accidents.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull this back up real quick. So it's reporting minor accidents.
Okay.
And then I read through this, and you cannot report a hit and run on public roads through this online portal. You can only report a hit and run on private property.
What?
Yes. Dude, it is insane. So I'm like, okay, so somebody in the process of all of this. I waited 40 minutes for an officer. I tried to submit this online.
Correct.
So I'm like, I'm getting pretty frustrated at this point.
Sure.
And so I then go into I can find this through my text messages real quick.
Yeah.
And then I can show this page. I then go into I call them again.
Okay.
And I'm on hold for approximately 10 to 15 more minutes.
Okay. And this is in the evening.
And I talked to another operator, and she basically told me, you can't do anything now because you left the scene. And I said, well...
The scene was the interstate.
Yep. And she's like, it's a few hours later, and you can't do anything because you left the scene. And I said, well...
Police encourage people to leave the scene if it is, or at least pull over or something. So you're not always going to be exactly where the scene is.
Yep.
If you are, and if you told an officer I got off the interstate because I don't want to sit on the side of the interstate, they would 100% say good for you.
Okay. So I have the link that they sent me.
All right. So I'm pulling this up.
So I tried filling this out. And this literally says it right here. The crash does not involve a hit and run on the roadway.
What?
You can't fill anything out online. So I'm like, okay, because I initially talked to the second operator, and she's like, yeah, just fill this out. We'll try sending an officer later just so they can see the damage. You can get a police report to report to your insurance.
Sure.
And then I called the third operator. This is in the evening. And it's just, she's like, yeah, you're not on the scene of the accident, and it's hours later. We can't do anything. I literally, on the phone, because I was very frustrated, I said, so the services I am paying for actually do nothing. They're worthless. And she said, yeah, there's nothing we can do. And so
I was about to say, I want to rephrase that because people pay for these services and they are successful a lot.
Yes.
And so it's just in these circumstances, they have limitations on what they can do. I mean, I'm sure staffing. It makes me wonder if the police department was fully staffed, if that would have been a problem or not, or if they would have been able to send somebody out.
And my buddy and I were talking after this, and he's like, yeah, the same thing happened to me. They didn't show up at all. And I had way worse circumstances than you did.
Wow.
And so it's just a common track record where the police either it's a very long time to respond or they don't show up.
Yeah.
But I brought this up to somebody else in conversation. I'm like, if we were in Wilson County or Williamson County, they would still have an officer respond.
Yeah.
So then, because nothing is happening, I can't get a police report, even though I have dash cam footage, I have photos of the license plate, I have all of that information. I have everything, literally on a platter. I'm going to give this to them on a platter.
Sure.
I then look up the Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Okay.
And you can't report anything to them unless it's more like commercial fraud.
Okay.
So that was really interesting. But this is the situation that I found myself in. And thankfully, the damage isn't to a point where it's like, hey, you have to replace your entire car. It's literally like a scratch because I moved in the dash cam footage.
Right.
But the question is like, and we posed this earlier,
Sure.
will Metro Nashville Police Department respond to hit and runs? Immediately after? Yes. Later in the day?
Yeah.
No, unless it's on private property. So it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And I want to know what your experiences are with
Yeah. So comment down below. Go to YouTube specifically. Comment down below and tell us a story. What have your stories been about? Either because we want to hear the good and bad. Like, is this just we've heard a lot of bad? Anybody have any good stories? Anybody have any negative stories about situations like these? Luckily, because Nashville, if you're going to be in Nashville, it's very unfortunate. You're probably going to be in some kind of accident. At some point. And so probably a lot of mixed reviews based on the circumstances of the crashes and everything, depending on how, because chances are it would be very interesting to see the study of things that have non-injury type crashes and see what their response time is versus crashes with injuries. See what their response is and kind of review those numbers. I don't think that's going to be available, but
you can find that number probably somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
Just got to dig.
If you're going to a Christmas party, this episode's also brought to you by Bowtie Barber Club. Sorry to change topics so aggressively.
They've been super busy and they've done a lot of Christmas party type haircuts because everybody's going to see family and party. So bowtiebarberclub.com if you want to get a good cut before the New Year and your New Year's party. See you tomorrow. Thank you for listening to Nashville Daily.
To learn more about today's episode, visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. And to stay connected, head to our Discord and you can find the link at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com/connect. Nashville Daily is now offering tours. If you would like to take a tour of downtown Nashville, head to the link in the show notes or find out more details at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore.Nash production, copyright 2022.